Hello guys. So it was 11 p.m. And we got a mail saying MC presentation, topic, think different. So we gathered together and we started thinking what should we do differently. So what we did is that we went in different directions to collect ideas about how should we present our presentation. And in this journey, we came across many different personalities who shared their thoughts with us. And so I'll call upon Sneha to present our journey, maybe because she might sleep. Why so? She'll tell us.
Yeah, why Mayur says that is because people who are not from my section might not be aware that I'm found sleeping most of the times in every single lecture. And so while they told me that you have to come up with an idea to say something in this presentation, I really dozed off. And then I dreamt of thinking that, oh my God, I have to skip dinner today as well. And why did I leave my job and come here? And I was thinking, and the mess would images flashed across my eyes. And then I was thinking about how I used to be really happy at home. So that was a eureka moment actually. The way I wake up suddenly in the class and start participating in the class out of nowhere is the way this idea came to me that, you know what, I don't really need to say something extraordinary. Thinking different can be found in every day. And let's walk through some of those. Had there not been chefs and people who come up with different recipes for the same ingredients, our life would be really boring and we wouldn't have such yummy food. So culinary arts is a very good example of thinking different about the same thing. And the age-old conundrum about the glass being half filled or half empty, it is a classic example of how two people could think differently about the same thing. And who would have thought that we would get groceries delivered at our doorstep one day? But then there were people who came up with Grofers and Big Basket and sites like those, which have made our lives easier. And that is because they thought differently about how our everyday life could be made different. And for people out there who are glued to their phones on Skype or WhatsApp or voice calls at night, the relationships, most of the problems are rooted in the fact that you think unilaterally about it, and so you might just think different and make your relationships more beautiful. The single people out there might just use this as a cheat code. And lastly, to get an attendance really, because we're always running late, skipping our breakfast, and we have a short video, though we today learned in practice what the first mover's advantage means, but yet.
Okay, so we met in the library. I'm sorry about the video. So I met Sneha in the library. We were discussing about thinking creatively. So Sneha told me we can think creatively in almost all the aspects of our life. So actually I freaked out. I have seen a lot of jugards in Quora, but other than that, I am pretty sure I haven't thought creatively ever, probably ever. So my thought was, is it an innate ability to think differently? Am I lacking something? Is it in my genes? Did my parents give me wrong genes? So I decided to go back to my childhood. I went to my primary school days. So we have this story, we all learned this story. What is it? What story is this? Guys, Emperor's New Clothes. Okay, so this is a story about Emperor's New Clothes. Everyone in the country thinks in the same way. Everyone is afraid to speak out loud. They feel that they may be stupid. But there is one kid who says, okay, the emperor is nude. And you don't realize, okay, the emperor is nude. So we kind of had that ability. Forget the fairy tales. I'll tell you a story about the Indian girl Sachi. Okay, her father, what he did was he bought a yellow capsicum. So Sachi kind of liked this color. So after a few days, the teacher asked her to draw a capsicum, everyone in the class. So what teacher expected was to have a green capsicum, which is very common. Everyone including her friends probably who sat on either sides, drew a green capsicum. But Sakshi, she decided to draw a yellow capsicum. So, but thanks to the Indian education system, she got a 2 out of 10. But again, point is, children are capable of thinking differently. They are capable of executing. So what went wrong? So this is what went wrong with me. So I guess this is what went wrong with many people. I can see a few guys smiling, few guys laughing. So we all follow the herd. We thought our goal is to make money. We thought our goal is to, IIT, IIM, whatever. So we decided to follow herd. So even we have process who say, oh, are you putting random GAN? Or is it there in the textbook? So if it's not there in the textbook, I don't want it. I don't want you to put random GAN. So we actually stopped putting random GAN. We started running after courses which will give us grade rather than the opportunity to learn. So our education system actually shaped us so bad. In fact, I'll tell you something which happened 5 minutes ago. We had to remove a video from this because we chose the same mentors videos which this section chose. Seriously, we hate you guys. So, but the point is, our education system and circumstances shaped us so well that all 12 of us thought about the same video. So it's actually terrifying, right? So probably the most important thing that shaped us was the education system. But I guess moving forward, you remember Amir Khan quoting, we don't want trained lions, we want educated lions. Okay, so probably what happened to in a workplace, I'm not a person qualified to tell that. We have a person who was a team lead, probably she'll be able to explain it better, what happens in a workplace.
So after college, it's probably the work that comes next, the natural transition. So what went wrong over here? Probably, just a guess, she suggested the industry level solution, which probably was not acceptable at her place of work. So just let's go on. I want to start with this quote. Being different and thinking different makes a person unforgettable. And history doesn't remember the forgettable. And I'm sure all of us want to make history here. At least we think we can. So innovation and disruption are the new industry words. We've had so many lectures so far, and all of them talk about innovation and disruption. Even the studs of our generation are the likes of Flipkart, who have brought in something that we hadn't even imagined 10 years ago. So disruption is like the next big thing that we should have. And what it takes to disrupt, it takes a creative thought. It takes a new thought, that probably a new direction that we can take. All said and done, all of us have talked about a different thought, but just a point of caution to all of you, just in the rut of thinking different, do not go to that level in where you bring in the same idea in a different package. The e-commerce industry was booming a year ago, but what happened to it now? Probably the rip-offs of the same e-commerce industries are coming back. We had Flipkart, we had Snapdeal, we had Amazon, all of them warring with each other, but eventually for what? It was the one same idea repackaged again and again. So if the same thing is put up again, it becomes the norm and it's boring. But as you mentioned out, somebody here mentioned out, that the norm or the boring process is not always that bad. It is probably the norm because it is the most optimal method. So in all, think creatively, but think smartly, think intelligently. What is the call of the day? Is it that I need to think creatively, or is it I just need to do the work in the mundane way, but just do it, what is required? And also one more thing, while you're thinking up your ideas, think up of a sustainable idea. Let's say when Edison came up with the bulb, had the bulb been releasing some toxic gases, that would have been bad for us, right? And the innovation wouldn't have been that awesome as it is. So when you're thinking of an idea, a new idea, think up of it in a sustainable manner. Have a 360 view of it. That is what is important. At the end, I'd just like to mention, just have a judgment. Be really cautious when you're having a new idea. That's all.
Oh, before I move to my slides, I just want to tell you a small event about myself. When I came in IIMK, my room was allotted. There was, you all guys are facing that difficulty. There are so many ants in room. Although there was no any food in my room, or I don't know they are finding me tasty or not. One night I was just laying down on the bed and they were biting here and there on me. I was just annoyed. Tomorrow I have my neck, which I am already harassed. Why are you doing this to me? Then these ants forced me to think differently. Every day, every morning I used to wipe them from jhadu, and they usually come back to my room and they keep biting me. So what I think I took a paper and a biscuit. I put the biscuit in that paper. So what happened? All the ants came to that paper, they eat biscuit, Then I wrap it that paper very beautifully and throw it out. So how a different thinking can change your life. It make you more comfortable. Now, come to my slides. I just want to talk about this a few personalities because of their different thinking, how these ordinary people become extraordinary. So, by saying how the thinkings are, these people are different. They are big picture thinker. They are focused thinker, creative thinkers, not restrictive thinkers. They are strategic in their thinking. So, I had just first example of the personality. You all aware of this person, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So from journey from ticket collector to a trophy collector because of the different thinking. Initially he was a ticket collector, but because of his thoughts, he doing different things. He became one of the best player in cricket world. Obviously, Dhirubhai Ambani. He was a normal clerk in a trade company, and because he thought, because other people can trade, why should I not? And he moved. He thought different, and his thinking make him a business tycoon. APJ Abdul Kalam, a child who is used to sell papers in trains and all stations, but because of the different thinking, innovation in his thoughts, he became the missile man of India. And obviously Bill Gates. Nobody is going to chase Bill Gates in Microsoft till now, and I hope in future also. Okay.
Thank you. So, hello. So Abhishek went to different personalities within the country itself. So I thought like I should go abroad, right? I always wanted to. So I went abroad, and do you know who this person is? Is it visible? Yeah. I'll give you a hint. I went to Italy. A sculptor. Yeah, Michelangelo. So I went there, and I shook his painting. There was a painting. So I shook his painting, and a voice suddenly came out of it. And then I asked him, like, Professor Michelangelo, like, tell me how you thought differently. So then he told me about his story. So in 1463, the Cathedral of Florence, what they did was they acquired a huge 16-foot slab of white marble, and they wanted to sculpt a sculpture out of it. So they called two local renowned sculptors, and they worked on that marble for many months, but then they gave up. And the marble, the mangled marble, was put in a storage. 40 years later, Michelangelo came, and he took out that mangled and damaged marble, and he started working on it. And within the next 18 months, he made what we know David. So this was the biggest, like the greatest masterpiece of creativity and sculpture. So what he did differently was, in 1400s, the sculptors used to make clay models, and they forcibly used to sculpt the marble so as to copy that sculpture into the clay model. What Michelangelo believed was completely different. His genius was, since he thought differently from others. He said, an art or a form is always imprisoned into the marble, and it is important to take out that form or art and not to add on to it. So this is what made him think differently, and we have a exercise, a study for you. Oh, yeah, actually, due to technical problem, it is not showing. Wait. Does it show? Okay. So, has anybody seen the pink dot experiment? Like green, that is the main motto behind it. So, it is there's a pink dot which keeps on rotating around an X. So what is that experiment says that if you keep on noticing at the pink dot, you are a very logical person. And while looking at the pink dot, if you concentrate on the black X, what happens? You'll see a green dot rotating. That is an illusion. So people who see the green dot are said to be creative people. Others are logical, only logical. So since childhood we have been taught like the Aristotelian logic theory. If this is a chair, it is either a chair or it is not a chair. So we are not taught to think differently in that way. So just concentrate here, okay? Don't look at the TV. You saw something. When you looked here, you saw only the image, right? But when you looked there, the image was seen from a distance. So which says, this was the technique which Leonardo da Vinci used for his paintings to get a different perspective about his paintings. He used to distance off from his paintings to get a different perspective about his painting, whether there was some different thing. So during, like in your life, if you face some hardships or some problems, you should like take a short like vacation or some break so that you will see some difference. Then my takeaway, so we should give a lot of emphasis on motiveless art, because randomness, incorporation of randomness into art will destroy our preconceived prejudices which we are told since our childhood. And yeah, so what I think is that we should incorporate arts and creativity since childhood so that people think differently, and we should use this for the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan so that most people don't litter or pee or like spoil places which are beautiful. So this will help us in the development process of India. So let's see what...
Okay, thank you, Mayur. So Sneha dozed off, and Abhishek told his aunt's story. Elias went to his childhood. She went to her office. So what am I left with? So I decided to give you some random gyan. Okay. So I come here with a story. The story of the crow and the nut. This is a very beautiful research that was being done, and you can Google it up and watch it on the YouTube. It's very nice. Okay. So the story goes like this. The crow wants to eat this nut. So what it does it picks it up and tries to break it with his beak. But he cannot, because he's not that strong. So he thinks differently, and he picks up the nut, flies high, and drops it up on the road so that it breaks up. But it doesn't. But the crow doesn't give up. He thinks again differently. Picks up the nut, goes to a traffic signal, and from there he dropped it. When the cars come by, they just break it. So the crows come flying down and try to eat it. Again he faced a problem. There were cars coming here and there, so there was a danger of being run over. So what the crow does is, he watches that when the signal turns red, the traffic stops. And when the signal turns green, the traffic moves. So he waits for the signal to turn red, and then he comes down, picks up the nut, and then goes away. So, if a crow can think so differently, why can't we? Finally, today I came across with this beautiful poster that was hanging from the PGP. It has a message that it's not about clearing the barrier. It's about setting it. And how do we do that? Think differently. Thank you. Questions, please?